Hello, my name is Jennifer Hintenberger, and today I am going to discuss with you the difference between what people tend to call hard or soft style kettlebell swings. First off, even calling them either hard or soft can frustrate some kettlebell professionals, but as far as I'm concerned, as long as what you're doing you do right, it really doesn't matter what term you use to call it. Okay, so when I think of soft versus hard style kettlebell training, there's a couple things that I think of to explain the difference to people. So hard style I generally relate to RKC or a Gatsu or any type of can-fit pro kettlebell training. I also think of the classic style kettlebell. So black belts are more commonly used when you're doing what's referred to as hard style training. When I think of soft style kettlebell, I think of IKFF, IKFSA, WKC, AKC. I think of kettlebell sport, more the competition aspect of kettlebell training, also known as Giraboy sport. And these are the types of kettlebells that I relate to soft style. So these here are both exactly the same weight, but this one is used for competition, this one is used more for fitness. Okay, so what I'm going to do is demonstrate first what's the hard style swing, and then I will show you the subtle differences between hard style and soft style. I shouldn't really say subtle because in many ways they're completely different. One is under tension and one is performed under relaxation per se, trying to develop a more efficient move. Okay, I'm going to use the hard style swing to also demonstrate some of the mistakes or some things that people may do incorrectly when doing a swing, and that applies to both styles. Okay, so for your swing, you always want to start with the bell between your feet. Okay, you don't want it too far out in front of you, because if you reach over to pick it up, that puts your lower back in a vulnerable position. So it's just in front of your feet and between them. As far as foot positioning, you don't want to be too close. You want to make room for that bell. So some people are about hip width or even wider, depending on your body structure. Okay, so at least hip width apart with your stance. Just slightly out in front. When you're picking up the kettlebell, you want to make sure that you squat down to pick it up. Don't bend forward to pick it up to start swinging. Once again, to protect your lower back. Okay, so what you would do, and I'm going to right now show what's referred to as hard style, is squat down, put hands on both sides of the horn. You're first going to push the bell back between your legs to create some momentum. So you push back, get a little swing, and then thrust. Okay, so you're driving the bell up. Arms are fully extended, or almost. And in terms of breathing, you're going to exhale on the up and inhale on the down. So, okay. Other important things that I've noticed with people doing kettlebell swings that can create injuries are the fact that they try to pull the bell out from between their legs. You want to think about, when doing any movement, the purpose of the movement. So the purpose of a swing is to build explosion and power in specifically your hips and glutes, but the lower body. So if that's your purpose, you don't want to be pulling with your arms. You want to be actually, your arms are just a guide. They're just holding on the bell just to create weight for your legs. But your legs should be creating enough power that the bell almost floats in the air and you can sort of re-grip. If you're holding onto it with a grip of death, you're going to just tire out your forearms and not get the benefits in the legs that you're trying to achieve and in that hip power. Why would you want to build hip power explosion? It's going to help your vertical jump. It's going to help you with increasing the height on your box jumps, whether you're a volleyball player, basketball player. It can also actually help you if you are a fighter, because you often may have to get from the ground up at a quick pace. So, for example, if you're down here and you need to be able to come up to your feet, if you've got enough power in your hips, you should be able to. Right up. Doing a kettlebell swing is going to build that hip power and transfer well to stuff like, to sports like that. Okay, so back to the kettlebell swing. Making sure it's just in front, feet are past hip width apart. We know the breathing is exhale on the up, inhale on the down. We're not pulling with our arms. So I'll show you a demonstration real quick. Pulling with my arms would be doing this sort of movement. Okay, you're not pulling, you're pushing with your hips. So you're scooping, scoop with the hips. Up. Okay, so you should be able to see the difference between the pulling and the pushing there. Another thing that people do is they squat too low. So they'll sort of do this, squat, squat. You can't get proper power from your hips coming that low. And to be quite honest, if you want to develop squat strength, I recommend you do squats. Okay, so this is a kettlebell swing. So you're not squatting as low on that. Now when you do any movement, you also want to be aware of the muscles you're working. So when you're doing a swing, you want to focus on firing the posterior chain. So when that bell drops, you squeeze your glutes, drive through your heels, and push the hips all the way through. You should constantly be feeling your glutes contracting. Contracting them will also engage your pelvic floor, protecting the lower back. Another problem people have, and why kettlebells get a bad rap for lower back injuries, is because people don't follow through with the hips. So you always want to make sure at the top of the movement, your hips are in front of your shoulders, just slightly. Some people take it to the extreme, and you'll see them here. That can cause injury as well. Excuse me. So you want to make sure they're just in front of the shoulders, and I'll show you why. So I'll do it improperly first. So if you're swinging and you're here, and the bell's out front, that is placing strain on your lower back. If I have the bell here and I'm in this position or even here, all that weight's going right here, whereas if I finish with my hips out in front, now I'm supported over my skeletal system. And that's what you want to do a safe swing. Okay, so let's review all those points. Bell slightly out in front of you, feet further than hip width apart. You're going to exhale when you push that bell up, inhale when you lower. You're going to make sure that the driving force comes from your posterior chain, glutes, hamstrings, driving through the heels. I'm not sure if I said it, but hips follow through and up in front of your shoulders. Okay, as far as head positioning, generally in a hard style swing, your head stays up. Okay, so just a few of those. Squat down, hands on the horns, press the bell back first, create some momentum, use your hips, and thrust. Thrust. Strong legs. So see how the bell sort of floats? I can lift my fingers because I'm not pulling it. Okay, so that would be an example of a hard style swing. The difference between a hard style and a soft style, first off, soft or giveaway sport, they don't do double arm swing. They don't put two hands on the bell. You would do a single arm swing. But I'm going to demonstrate the difference between the two so-called styles with two hands rather than one. Okay, so the difference is your feet would still be the same distance apart, the bell would still be in the same position, you're going to pick it up the same way, but the differences would be, first off, your breathing. You want to exhale all that air out as the bell drops. So you're working under a more relaxed state, working with the bell, rather than almost working against it in the hard style where you're working under tension. Okay, so for breathing, same start. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that would be the breathing. In terms of the arms, I naturally changed it right there. Instead of having the arms fully extended and the bell sort of pulling away from your body, you're trying to keep it close to your body. Your elbows have a slight bend leading upward, and you're scooping with the hips, and making that bell float close to your body. Remembering that the focus is hip power, hip explosion. Okay, trying to lift, scoop the bell with your hips. So be here, and in terms of where the bell height should be, generally about chest level is a good place to aim for. Okay, another thing with the soft versus hard is the hard more of a push your butt back, push it forward. It's more back, forward, thrust. With a soft style, there's more of a rock. You actually will find that you feel you want to rock onto your heels, then up onto your toes. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate that really quick. I'm actually trying to keep my heels down. So I'm rocking onto my heels, but trying to keep my toes down. Because if you're on your toes, you're in an unstable position. That bell can pull you forward, and you can end up with more lower back injuries. Okay, so even though you might feel the need to come onto your toes, try to keep your heels down. It's okay to rock back and have your toes come up. When you come forward, stay planted, grounded in the heels, scoop, and bring the bell up. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question between the difference of a hard and soft style kettlebell swing.